So we are here with another episode of the BSQ podcast after long last.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, like a couple days?
Yeah, a couple days.
Days.
I would like it to be known that I said in that Ultimate Spider-Man video I did in, January. I think it was, first week of January. I was like, 2 podcasts a month, 1 video a month.
So yeah. I don't want to at you too hard, but I re-listened to our last episode of the podcast.
Oh, no.
To be like, was there anything, was there any good clapbacks I could give? And you said, yeah, in a couple weeks. And I said, yeah, in 2024. It's 2024.
You fucking got me, bro. You cooked my ass. Oh, man. Yeah, no, it's been a busy start to the year.
For sure.
And it's also one of those things where, not that I don't appreciate our tens of listeners, but, when I have a weekend free, I think I would rather just crack open a beer usually and chill with the fellas.
We've hit that age where all we do is pay taxes and go to weddings.
And go to sleep, actually.
Yeah, sometimes you can't do that either.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Have I told you how much Betty has been keeping me up lately?
Oh, I mean, when you first got Betty, I know that you were sleeping on the couch. Is it as bad as that? Or?
So it's not as bad as that. It's marginally better.
Marginally better.
Because so it's weird because we'll have times where she'll be great and she will just sleep through the night, from like
a
10,
toddler.
Yeah, basically from 10 to 6, no problem, right? And I get up pretty early anyway, so it's not really a huge deal. But lately, she's been waking me up 2 or 3 times a night.
Ugh.
So it's not at convenient times either.
Have you tried any Benadryl?
She's a 10-pound dog, dude. I think I would like when I wake up in the morning to still have a 10-pound dog waiting.
If you cut it in half, she'll just visit the doggy hat man and.
Yeah, I'm. So actually, she's been fine the past couple days actually, which has been a little bit weird. But we discovered that we think she has allergies. Because
seasonal allergies?
Yeah, because this past Monday, I felt like it hit me like a truck. Yeah. I don't know. Did you get?
I did a couple weeks ago. I thought I had the flu, but I got better too quickly. So I'm curious if it was just allergies.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I got hit like a truck on Monday, and I'm sneezing, eyes are watering, super congested,
the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, it's bad. And of course, I took a Flonase, and I was, and of course, that did me wonders within an hour.
Right.
I was fine. But Betty was also constantly sneezing this entire week as well.
Very interesting.
It was as soon as the pollen count hit above a certain threshold.
Whatever tree you have outside that's putting down all those pretty pods is probably also pollinating up the neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm the classic nerd where I'm oh yes, I'm allergic to the outside. I got an allergy test when I was 12.
Touch grass couldn't be me.
Yeah, dude, it literally could not be me. I am allergic to fucking grass, bro. It's tough.
I've hit that point where I've worked nights for so long that I am now leaving the hospital in the morning and my eyes hurt. The sunshine physically hurts.
Do you think you could be super cool, have a pair of aviators or something, or is that do those not?
I don't know if that would be what you would define as super cool. I think that
no, but then again, I mean,
I believe the kids nowadays would call that super beta.
Would that be beta?
I'm pretty sure wearing sunglasses because the sunlight hurts your eyes.
Yeah,
that's pretty beta.
Yeah. Wearing sunglasses for their intended purpose, that's cringe, bro.
That's cringe.
Have you considered not?
Everybody knows that it's just so you can look at butts.
Yeah. Guilt-free that way. That's the... As far as kind of a catch-up, that's kind of been all that's going on.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you'd like to share?
I don't think so, no.
No. Dude, we're domesticated.
Yeah.
We're domesticated, we just kind of we go grocery shopping, we'll hang out.
We meal prep.
We do meal prep. Actually, my wife meal preps for me. That's nice.
So much laundry.
Dude, yeah, actually, we've done about 4 loads of laundry today because today was our big cleaning day.
That was me earlier this week.
Sheets, comforters. Oh, yeah.
We are the same person, Jared. This is bad.
Really is, yeah.
Doomed.
I think it's fine. It's a good place
to
be.
It's good. Yeah. I think this is the dream, right? This is what people live for. To be domesticated.
Yeah, I mean, it feels nice though,
It's so funny because it's I'm the same Tyler that I was, 10 years ago, but I now know what cheese to pair with a nice Bordeaux, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of baller though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I don't know that.
It's just it's a different skill set,
Yeah, I feel I could tell you the good eats.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the good places in the area.
I think that's the question, right? Have you become somebody that high school Jared would have bullied?
Ooh, that's tough.
And
Probably.
Really? You think so?
Yeah, mostly because I think high school Jared had a lot of shit he had to work out. So I think the jealousy would be like, oh damn, he's got it together. You know?
This is bullshit. I can't believe I got married. I have a house.
Well, exactly. Like I absolutely think probably 16-year-old Jared would have absolutely just been like, bro, you're married at 25. What are you doing?
We can't be tied down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 16-year-old Jared just bitchless, dude. Just completely. Yeah, it was a dark time, man.
So I think the funny thing is, not much has changed since the last podcast, because the last time that we chatted, we went our separate ways that night, and then we went and played Lethal Company. Yeah. Well, that dead game, no fun.
Dead game, yeah.
So now the new game is content warning.
Yeah, that's the new hotness.
That's the new hotness, yeah.
I will say though, in one night, and this is gonna feel like I'm like grifting so hard right now, because I was like, Lethal Company is so great. It was made by one guy, and I do still think Lethal Company is a good game.
Yeah. There was an update recently. I'd love to go back and play again.
Yeah, but playing content warning, I think I was in tears.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in tears quite frequently playing content warning.
I think it's all the best parts of Lethal Company, but like it actually encourages you to have fun. So it's like with Lethal Company. Hypothetically, if you were a stinky ship bucket, you could carry your team like single-handedly, getting all the loot out and everything else to get to the ship, whatever. Mm-hmm. But for content warning, mm-hmm. It's content warning, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't go with your team, like there's no funny business, right? Like it only works if you are there to actually like record each other. So like if you just fuck off an adventure on your own, like that's it. There's nothing to do.
You're right.
It's like it actually encourages you to play together. Mm-hmm. Like imagine that, like playing a game with your friends together.
That's kind of wild, actually.
It's insane, yeah.
Dude, couch co-op needs to come back.
It does, yeah.
But so I think the thing with content warning too is that I feel like when you see a monster, you don't insta die like you do in Lethal Company. Yeah. Like Lethal Company, it just feels bad because you like see a monster and you're like, okay, it's game over. Like there's some ones that you could like play around, but then there's like literal like no win conditions for certain other ones, especially as you get later. And I'm like, well, that's just not fun to play.
I think that it's fun because like even the ones in content warning that are like that like it's gonna kill you, like it kills one of the people and then leaves. Like the thumper that like picks you up and throws you and like it's a one tap. Like once it kills somebody, it like takes them away and you're done. So it's like you get the film and it's hilarious versus like getting team wiped by Bracken because no one could communicate effectively.
Yeah, I think my favorite monster in content warning is probably the Snail Man. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh yeah, no,
because like, he does nothing. He does nothing. So it's just like I'm like dapping up the Snail Man and I'm like, yo, what's good, homie? And then like he'll like grab me and just like. The ragdoll physics really add to it too, because it looks like I'm getting like dry humped.
That company, is it Landfall Games or whatever? Like all of their games feature those like ragdoll physics. That's like their bread and butter.
Yeah, they do a totally accurate Battlegrounds. I think,
I think so. Incredible.
It's great stuff.
Yeah.
So I know you had something you want to talk about.
Why don't you go first?
Okay, all right. So the thing I wanted to talk about today, as you know, I am the resident 40K dork in our friend group.
Yeah, I'm aware of it. That's about it.
Yeah. Like I think if I showed you a Space Marine, you'd be like, "That's a Space Marine."
Yeah.
You know. But so yeah, I'm a big Warhammer fan. Yada yada yada. I have 3 armies that we're looking at right now. Multiple kill teams. The whole thing. We talked about it for about half an hour before we just started recording this.
Well, I mean, come on, Jared. There's deep podcast lore. We're in the bunker. We're actually in the trophy room right now. I'm looking at like thousands of small plastic figures that are just handcrafted and beautifully painted.
And they survived the nuke.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. And my prized possession. The dog didn't make it, but the 40K fixed.
Yeah, the plastic.
But yeah, no. So recently, my timeline has been abuzz the past couple weeks because there's a big controversy in Warhammer.
Oh,
do you want to take a guess at what it is?
All right, I'm gonna, as like an uninterested third party, I'm going to say that they are using molds past their lifetime, and they're charging the same price even though they're not the same quality as when they first came out.
Now that is an issue that Games Workshop does.
Okay.
But that's just business as usual. That's a Tuesday.
That's
for GW.
Normal. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's just normal. There's a culture war happening right now in 40K because this, when I explain this to you, you're going to immediately picture some like the type of person in your mind that would get upset with this. May I direct you back to our conversation about 16-year-old Jared?
Yeah.
So, as you know, I'm pretty sure you know, all Space Marines are men, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's the whole brotherhood thing. You know, Sons of the Emperor. Yada,
and
yada,
they get
yada.
like an extra heart and like 5 kidneys.
Yes,
there's some funny lore there. Yes.
Yeah. We're also looking at my Necrons. You know, Necrons. I mean, they were all the Necron tier people, but they were turned into. But it was men, women, children. They were all turned into like the emotionless robots that you see in front of you.
I'm getting a vibe that this is like an actual cultural problem.
Oh, you're getting to it. Yeah. And actually, Chaos here. Chaos cares not, because while it is true that the Chaos Space Marines are all men, because that's just how Space Marines were, and they turn to Chaos. The cultists are male and female, right?
Yes, yeah. It's an equal opportunity employer.
Yes. Are you familiar with the Custodes, by any chance? The big gold guys.
Are they? It's like a Space Marine.
Yeah, so they're part of the Imperium.
Yeah,
basically. And they're Space Marine-esque.
Are those the ones that are like the models themselves are like super religious-y, like lots of like Roman eagles and like scriptures and stuff like that?
Yeah, you might be thinking of the Grey Knights.
Probably.
It might be the
that's
the
exactly
silver ones. Yeah. So these gold boys are essentially the guardians of the Emperor.
Okay.
They're the 10,000. So
it's like the red Imperial troopers in Star Wars.
Kind of, yeah, okay. Basically. But imagine them, but like, so here's the Custodes are actually very cool.
Okay.
They're very, very cool. So they have their whole. We're getting to the point here. I promise. I'm just laying the groundwork.
No, I appreciate this.
I'm laying the groundwork for you. So they
obviously the chat needs to hear this too, right? Like,
so there is 10,000 of these custodians.
Okay.
Right. They're custodians, whatever you want to call them. Okay. Talons of the Emperor.
Right.
Ask.
It's like the SS of the Imperium. Yeah, I got it.
That's a much more apt description. Yeah, because like the people that are currently upset right now, they do not realize that the Imperium of Man is a fascist regime, in that this is a parody, in that this is a game of plastic soldiers.
Right, yeah.
But they want to kill white men such as us. So what they did, traditionally, Custodes have always been men. Right?
Okay.
But that lore has
GW must have fucked up and released a female figure.
Yeah, so that lore, it started in, I think it was 8th edition. They said like it was the sons of Terra, and Terra's Earth, right?
Okay.
In 40k, but we're grim dark, so it's Terra.
Yeah.
So they were like, it was like the hand-picked like elites of humans were turned into Custodes, right? Stronger than like 2 feet, 2 feet taller than Space Marines, even. Like,
oh wow!
Like so for Space Marines, there's probably tens of thousands of Space Marines. Like, still nothing compared to the billions and billions of people.
Yeah,
but tens of thousands of Space Marines.
Yeah,
there's 10,000 of the Custodes.
Yeah, okay.
Right? And even though it was technically made to be just like they all just look like men. That's just kind of how it's been. All the characters are male. GW and we're in 10th edition now, by the way. So
okay, wow.
So 8th edition was they were the handpicked, to be the Emperor's guardians.
What edition did we play?
We played 5th way back when. This is something. Yeah, okay, all right. I would like to know I would like to note this, because I don't think anybody's actually going to listen to this, but just in case, we have known about Warhammer and have played Warhammer and have been into Warhammer. Well, I've been into Warhammer since I was fucking 13 years old. Okay,
yeah, I was going to say, it's been over 10 years.
Yeah. And in 9th edition, they were like, the Custodians were handpicked to be like sons of nobles on Terra. So like the high Earth households were able to, it's like their children can become guardians of the Emperor.
Definitely not fascism.
No, it's not fascist at all. No, children indoctrination? Come on. Well, the Codex for 10th edition Custodians just came out, and there's a female custodian.
Tragedy.
It was tragic. Yeah, my day was ruined because and the thing too is that it honestly wasn't even really done. It was done very nonchalantly.
Yeah.
Which I can understand, like, if people have criticisms about that, because it was just kind of like it. So basically, there's a short story about a female custodian.
Okay.
The custodians do this thing called the Blood Games, right? Where basically, in order, because they're the super elite organization, the Emperor.
It's like they fight their own to like clear house.
Not even to clear house. It is to figure out any faults in their plan to protect the Emperor.
Interesting.
So this mad woman, Kesh, I believe was her name.
Yeah.
She was the female custodian. She was just like, I'm just gonna nuke the Golden Throne. Which is awesome. Okay, like I love this character already.
Hold on.
I am sold. But basically, the short story was essentially written where like it really doesn't matter. Like they could have made it anybody.
Yeah.
But it reads like it's supposed to be. Like they turned every he did Control F find and replace, and then just turned it to a she.
Okay.
You know, which that's another thing we talk about later. But of course, within seconds, the codex leaked, and people are like,
"Well,
there's a female custodian." Yeah, and they're like, "They want to kill you," and they're just like,
God,
"The white
dude.
man. It's not a safe space for for white men in Warhammer anymore." So people are freaking out about it because this traditionally. And I'm pulling up some tweets I found about this, by the way.
Oh God.
Yeah, dude. When I told you I found a gold mine, I found a good one. So yeah, basically. The culture war shit, people who have never played 40K are now commenting and being like, they're trying to ruin your hobby. They're taking it away from you. And like, there's so many actual issues with Games Workshop and like how they run their company.
Yeah.
To anyone that's like shocked that Games Workshop made a huge retcon to an army, like first time? Like what? Like I've had Necrons since I was 13 years old. You think nothing has ever changed since
exactly.
then? You know, it's ridiculous, and like it's really telling that it's the only people that actually give a fuck. Like the only time anybody's ever raised any concerns over a fucking retcon like this is just because like they made a singular female character in one of the factions.
So to be clear, I just want to make sure we're on the same page here.
Sure.
They're not angry that like. This is exclusively because there's a woman on this group, not because of the retcon and everything else.
Correct. Yes. So like for me, I'm like, I think they probably could have handled it better.
Yeah.
You know, like just they made the character cool. They made the custodian sick. It's a cool character. I'm down. But yeah, it is strictly because there is a woman in there. And it's so this has ignited, and Warhammer has. The majority of people that you go to and talk to at game stores, super cool, right?
Yeah.
And there's plenty of LGBTQ plus people that go to like a lot of these local game stores.
It's one of those things, like just generically, like this hobby is one of those things that's like popular with the girls, gays, and days.
100%. Yeah.
So you know,
and I'll see people like retweeting pictures of like there was one recently where someone painted up a Sisters of Battle army, right? In like the trans pride colors or like trans flag colors, and like really it didn't even like it looked pretty cool, and like it was done very nice where it was just like white armor and it had like blue and pink on like the wings for the flying units, and I was like that's cool. But of course, and then like it gets reposted by some numbnut who's like they make it their entire personality, and I was like, man, like it's just a fucking color scheme. Do you have any real problems?
I think that's the problem. Is it's like, you know, it's just a hobby at the end of the day. So it's like, you know, you can paint them any way you want. Like you can do whatever you want. Like those are the same people where it's like if they weren't painted, be like, I'm not playing with gray figs. Exactly. That's ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing. You saying that implies that these people have actually played Warhammer before.
Oh, so you're saying these are just like, you know, the cultural protectors?
Yeah,
you
know? It's a bunch of these like right wing goblins that come out of the woodwork, and then like they probably never even heard of 40K, and now all of a sudden they're like experts on the lore, trying to be like they're trying to take this away from you, white boy. You're right, because you know, Warhammer traditionally has never been a safe for chubby white dudes and with beards. That's not. No, I feel under attack. And the thing too is that like even if there is something like set in lore, like you know, all Space Marines being men, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, if they make female Space Marines, I'm gonna be fucking normal about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess it's like, you know, they re-release the codex every couple of years, obviously to make money. Like you're gonna have to make changes if you're gonna re-release.
100%. Yeah, and I'm like, instead of people, you know, being upset that they're charging you $40 for one character model, they're getting pissed that like, oh, she might have long hair. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's fucking ridiculous. So
it's funny because, like, you know, especially with the Space Marines, like you can't see anything under the armor, right? Like they all, most of them like wear a helmet, like you can't even see their face. So it's like if they're like, oh, this is a female character or whatever, like there's no outward way to tell that. Like the only reason you'd be upset is that knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, like some of, I mean, you could see it in like the back of the display case. Like some of like my like scouts and stuff have like bareheaded.
Yeah.
You know, and not to mention, here's the other thing too. Games Workshop, even though their plastic kits have a lot of issues, quite frequently,
yeah,
they always have extra heads. So what I'm saying is that if they release a Space Marine kit, or using this current example, a Custodes kit in like a year or two, right? And it has a couple female heads in it.
You could just
no one's forcing. Yeah, like you could still have your fucking boys club in your Custodes army.
So I think this is like the funny thing here is like, so does this mean that like competitions they're gonna be like, yes, you need to strip the armor down. I need to see what's in your army's pants. Like we got to make sure this is all up to snuff.
Yeah. We got to make sure that the high school Custodes wrestling league
exactly.
is gonna be
Everybody knows no girls allowed. Like it's just I don't. What a hill to die on, Like I think that's what kills me with the cultural war, like BS. It's like, there is like actual shit going around the world, like even our own country, and like this is like, oh, I cannot believe it
because they want the white man dead. Famously, that's So I found a really funny tweet. Are you familiar with the YouTuber Bricky?
I think I've heard of him, but I don't think I've.
He makes primo content. This is a good reflection of Bricky. So he made a video regarding all this because he's for a while he ran a battle report channel for 40K.
Oh, okay.
And like he's made a couple other like Warhammer videos. Like he does like Space Marines in a nutshell, like that.
Maybe
kind of stuff.
you showed me something, and that's why that sounds familiar.
Probably because he's done like pretty much like I think he does like a COD retrospectives and stuff too that I think you might have been into.
Oh, yeah, it's probably what I watched.
A lot of great videos. Like I watched, like I got the fucking bell icon. He's great.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Exactly. Yeah. Speaking of which, did you know that you can click that bell icon? It's free. So this was a random Twitter user that popped up because I saw that Bricky retweeted this guy.
Oh.
With it, he was not very kind to this man because the initial post said list of woke and anti-woke Warhammer YouTube channels, just so people know before they start to support someone.
Oh my
Work in
God.
progress. If you think someone should be added to this list, leave a reply. So I'm just going to read off because he included reasonings.
But before you start,
yes,
can we just address the fact, like, could you imagine having so much free time? So much free time. Just being so not in education or employment.
This is jobless activity. You're very right. This is just jobless, dude.
That you're like, oh, I'm going to review all these channels to ensure that they're not being too woke about my my plastic pieces.
So and a lot of this stemmed from so Bricky made a video about this, right?
Yeah.
On his second it wasn't his primary channel, it was his second channel, and he was just kind of in the same kind of thing where he was like, oh yeah, like if you're upset that Games Workshop made a big retcon to your army first time, like this is is a very common thing that's been happening for years
and years.
And like you need to and actually, but before I read off this list of woke hammer, okay.
Sorry, I'm still recovering from jobless activity.
So I would like to just talk about a couple other retcons that have happened in Warhammer. First up, the Necrons actually used to like just not have a story. Right?
Oh.
I don't even remember that, but like when we were like 13 and playing for the first time,
there was no story.
They were mindless automatons. They were like super mysterious. They didn't know like we as the players and like other like factions in the game did not know anything about them.
Interesting.
Like they were just mysterious. They would show up. They would shoot people with Gauss blasters and teleport out of there. Pretty good, pretty mysterious.
Yeah.
And then I think it was in 7th edition or 8th, probably 7th. I think. They changed it so that Necrons now have dynasties, right? They released a ton of character models and like there's like cultures, right? So it's just like I personally like that's a retcon. That's a huge retcon.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's interesting.
Because all of like those like cryptex and leaders that you see in there, they're all incredibly pedantic, and because they're immortal, they can spend like, let's say if someone basically sues someone in Necron court, essentially, they could be there for dozens of years figuring something out. It's great. Like it's
interesting, very interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, there was even like in Necromunda, there was a lot of changes, right? Because they made it. I mean, in comparison to the argument here, they made it more PC. Like a lot of the some of the gangs from the 80s were a little, sus.
Yeah, not great. Yeah. So they didn't age too great.
Yeah, they didn't age too great. So it's like, just like how we don't play Cowboys and Indians anymore. some of the gangs were rebranded, shall we say?
That's a good way of putting it, actually. And there's a lot of people too. Like these same people get pissy because they see like a black cultist or something.
Yeah.
In an army, and I got some wild news for you. I know that you don't really paint minis or anything.
Yeah.
You control what colors you put on your minis. I didn't know if you knew this, man. It's
that's wild. Yeah,
it's crazy, right? Yeah. So there was that. Oh, and the biggest one actually, and this is why I was just thinking of it. Dwarfs were dead for 20 years in the lore.
What?
Dwarfs, like squats.
Oh yeah.
They were dead in the lore for 20 years. Guess what? They announced their fucking army back as an April Fool's joke back in 2021.
And people wanted it.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I have a kill team sitting on my desk right now of the Hearthkin. Like it's
wait. The
squats. So
they're short. They're intentionally short.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even recognize.
Yeah.
What does
pull Space Marine out of there?
Like?
I can show you.
No. I'm getting the vibe check. Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. They're called squats.
So that means it's an even bigger pain in the ass to paint those.
Yes, it was not. Wow. I mean, actually, I had a lot of fun with it though.
Okay, hold on. Now this is the bigger question.
Yes.
So it's the same number of figures as you would get in like a normal kill team.
Yes.
But they're half the size, like volume wise.
yeah, they are.
So they're the same price, right? Obviously.
Yeah, naturally.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're
actually there is a couple there's a couple examples where that's actually not so this was 50 or 60,
which that's like the standard.
That's
right?
kind of standard, yeah. But then there's other ones. So like remember how I told you that I didn't want to buy the Legionary box for the Chaos Space Marines and I just kit bash stuff? Mm-hmm. That's 70.
Oh, okay.
Because the normal Legionary box is 60 for basic troops, but you got to get the upgrades through in there, so it's an extra $10 naturally.
Well, it's the GW season pass that always fucks you over, you know.
Yes, exactly. So so basically, there's been major record. The entirety of the Horus Heresy. Do you know what the Horus Heresy is? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because that was already in the lore when we were.
Yeah, I don't even think any books were out yet, though.
No. So, Aaron.
Yes.
He had a copy of second or third edition.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And a lot of those earlier books were much more lore heavy. Mostly because I don't know if there was codex at that time, and so like
also there's only like 5 armies.
Yeah, so like most of the information was in like the actual like main the core rulebook, I guess is what you'd call it now.
Yeah.
And there was some really interesting, like deep information about like the Space Marines and stuff like that. That was like later on moved to the Codex.
Yeah. So the Horus Heresy initially didn't exist.
Really?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, how you're talking about like that like second edition Codex or second edition like rulebook and everything.
Yeah.
It was like a throwaway line. It was like 10,000 years ago because they needed basically the whole thing was created because Games Workshop needed a reason why Space Marines would fight each other.
Oh.
And that's why Horus Heresy was basically it's like the big Space Marine Civil War and then half of them fell to chaos, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
There was that. And actually if we're even going back to like Rogue Trader, like first edition.
Yeah.
There was fucking Eldar Space Marine hybrids.
Yeah.
But do we care about the knife ears? No, we care about one single lady custodian. Okay, so I'm gonna read off. This guy made a post.
I want to hear the list. You know, I need to know who I can and cannot watch anymore.
Anybody who I say in red is actually very good, and I would highly recommend them. Okay. Red is and he wrote descriptions for these too. It's great.
Oh god.
So his red are it's the woke commies obviously. So
right. Yeah.
Openly woke either on social media or in their videos. The first one is Goobertown Hobbies.
Okay.
I don't know if you know who he is, but I would say just the vibes are immaculate. He's like the Bob Ross of like painting minis.
Oh, so
incredible.
Because he can hold a conversation with women, obviously woke. Can't watch.
That is a good point. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually we're gonna find out in real time why this guy's kids don't talk to him. No, I actually have no idea if this Twitter user has kids. Probably not. That would imply that he speaks to women. But so Goobertown Hobbies, woke on Twitter, supporting Cerebus XT and other virtue signalers, pushing for female Space Marines and blocking people who disagree with him. Did you know, Tyler, that if someone blocks you on Twitter, you win the argument? It's totally not just because you're being an annoying, pedantic piece of shit. This is so annoying.
So is it like the any % run to get blocked as soon as possible? So you're like, I have the moral high ground.
Yes. So I'm gonna save Bricky till last. So I'm gonna skip over him and then we'll keep going here. Hellstorm Gaming, 1000% soy. That is the only reasoning. Midwinter Minis.
No, you can't say that and not like elaborate.
I actually don't even know who Hellstorm Gaming is. I'm gonna be honest.
But all right, you're telling me that like 40K like miniature wargaming is not a soy activity as a
it kind of like I can admit it like it's kind of nerd activity. It's lame-o activity. I admit it. You know, I think it's cool.
No, I'm just saying like how little like self-awareness do you have to be like
Well, and again, like the whole thing about this is that it's a game about fucking our toy. We have toy soldiers.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what I mean? Like it's just it's
40 years ago they're called dolls.
They're
All right,
dolls.
They're dolls.
Well, it's just like I had Joey over. This was probably about like a month ago, and we were just playing 40K on the dining room table. Amanda came home with her and Tessa were out for the day, and they came back, and it was just kind of like, "Oh, are you guys playing with your toys?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, like it's yeah, like because that's all it is."
Yeah,
you know what it is. You know,
yeah, but
like,
babe, look how I painted this one.
Yeah. You know, sometimes I do feel bad because I feel like every single time I do one that I'm like proud of, I'll be like, babe, check this shit out. Check this out. You know, I put Dig Dug on this guy's scanner, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, "That's nice, babe.
That's nice. We'll put it on the fridge."
Well, well, and that's and slowly I'm realizing like that is how I've learned about Taylor Swift over the years. Where I'm like, "Oh, that's nice." Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She'd be like, "Oh yeah, no, like this one's about John Mayer," and I was like, "Yes, yes, quite." Moving
Indubitably.
on. Yes. So yes, it is a soy activity to begin with. Like, and I can fully admit that. Midwinter Minis, another great painting channel. You know, great stuff. Woke, famous for implying that people who play Germany in bolt action are Nazis. That's a bit of a stretch.
What?
So he basically just said like, hey, some people get way too into playing the SS in these World War II games.
Oh, you mean like all those people who play Hearts of Iron to like prove
Yes.
all the ways Hitler could have won?
Yeah. And like I say that as a Black Templar player, okay? Yeah, I'm towing a line here, okay? Like they are the most zealous religious like fascist faction of space. Like
dude, and they have that that Hugo Boss drip, you know.
Hugo Boss drip, that's a new one. All right. Let's see here. Discourse Minis claims people who are into 40K lore aren't real fans. Woke but not so heavy-handed as others.
Imagine like playing a game and be like, it's not about the game. It's about all the $40 books that I can read.
Yeah, and truth be told, like a good chunk of the reason why I like Warhammer is because the story is so cool.
Yeah, no, for
You know,
sure.
but
sure.
it's also riddled with inconsistencies for the past 30 years. You know, it's just
and at the end of the day, like you recognize it's a game, right? Like
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't go on Twitter and I make my
they'll be like, oh, I watch Ninjago for the TV show, not because I have the sets.
It's about the deep lore, you know. Next one. It's the channel name is Arbiter Ian, but he called him Arbitrator Ian in this. I don't know if that's supposed to be a slam or not. I don't. Maybe probably. I don't. It might be. In his lore videos, multiple times saying that 40K elements are problematic. Openly woke on Twitter. There is no canon for him advocating for female space marines. So I've seen this video actually from Arbiter Ian when he talks about female space marines, and he's like, yeah, no, like it's super hyper masculine. 40K is basically just like a parody. Yeah, which anybody with half a brain cell can recognize that.
Yes.
Like that's exactly what it is. 52 Miniatures, another person I actually don't know, advocating for female space marines, has some woke vibes.
So I know it's like not consistent with the lore, but like, what is there like a specific reason why people are like, oh, we can't have women in our war game?
Specifically, are you just referring to like Space Marines in general here? Yeah. So for Space Marines, the whole thing is that, so the Emperor made the 20 Primarchs.
Yeah.
They were all the sons of the Emperor, right? So
Right.
we know the identities of every single one of those, except for the two that.
Okay.
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah. They'll be in the 11th edition.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I will say it would be fucking hilarious if the lost two Primarchs that we never knew
women.
about were women. Yeah. I almost want it to happen.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna, but So there's 18 Primarchs that have identities.
Yeah.
They are characters. Like there's no, they're all men.
$45 a piece, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's cute.
Okay,
You
sorry.
think a Primarch model's only $45?
My bad.
Yeah. We'll look at them later. And then the Primarchs basically using their gene seed, right? So like each Primarch has kind of a superpower, you know?
Yeah, okay.
And some of them have like fatal flaws that get.
And those the Primarchs are like what led to the different like chapters, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So each Primarch had 1,000 Marines, generally speaking. And they were their chapter. So like Gilliman, who's kind of like, I mean, especially in 40K, it's kind of like the Emperor's favorite son, more or less. He's the Ultramarine. So like the poster boys, basically.
Yeah.
So and they each have their own chapter, named after whatever trait that their Primarch had. And the Primarchs passed on their gene seed, is what it's called, which gives the kind of like a slower, like not a slower, but like a smaller version of like their power, basically.
Okay.
This is all very broadly speaking.
And that's how you can segregate all the different like Space Marines.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And there's like successor chapters where like people like branch off from the you know. And so basically it's just always been like, oh, you know, like we'll find the ripest, most strong men on each planet and we'll inject them with a billion different steroids and give them emperor
extra
juice.
Organs and all this other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So that's basically just how it's been, and it's always just been men. You know, and it's just there was one, I think, like 3rd edition codex again. So it was made in the fucking 80s.
Again, to be clear, it's just a lore reason. There's no
it's just
like,
a lore reason. Yeah,
so they could rewrite it and be like
100%. Yeah, and again, like for me, like I kind of like the idea that it's just like this hyper masculine brotherhood, right? Yeah. But it's also like if someone
especially because there are like women models, right? Because some of the like the librarian people are women, and you know.
The librarians not so much because those are just Space Marines. So presently there isn't any female Space Marines, but there's like female Inquisitors.
Yeah, Inquisitors.
Female,
that's what
like,
I'm looking for.
female guard members and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I think, to be honest, like I think GW probably should be doing a better job in making more like women's sculpts for like, you know, like Astra military, you know, so like guard and stuff like that, because like that even in the lore is like all hands on deck, men, women, children, you're in the guard. You know. So there's plenty of examples like that where they should be doing a better job at that. But yeah, basically it's a low reason. Okay. And again, like even though I like the whole brotherhood aspect of the Space Marines, like
it doesn't matter.
I'll be fucking like, I know I already said it, but like I'll be fucking normal about it. I'm gonna be like, okay, you know, like whatever. I'll probably just
new models to paint. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. New models to paint. You know, yeah. So I'll probably take a female head and just like, so it's just boom, look at that. I'm part of the woke mob now. So,
bro, I hope that we're on the list.
I cannot. Could we make it on the list?
Oh my god.
Oh, this other guy, Templin Institute. Mostly like a big lore channel. He does other stuff too. Not strict Warhammer YouTuber, but advocating for female Space Marines. Woke on social media. Adeptus Ridiculous. Actually, I'm going to skip Adeptus Ridiculous here because it's very funny. Okay. And then Oculus Imperia. Just woke on social media. Now we're going to Bricky here, and I just really like this entry. Ashamed of being 40K fan. Virtue signaling for brownie points. Could you imagine just the absolute lack of self-awareness of being like, I can't imagine why Bricky is ashamed to be a 40K fan. I'm going back to making my woke enemy list. Like, could you fucking imagine the audacity to do that? It's so stupid.
It gives those vibes. You know, you ever watch the Make Love Not Warcraft from South Park?
Yes.
Bedroom.
I really just love the concept of being like, I can't believe Bricky's ashamed to be a Warhammer fan, dude. Back to making my woke enemies list.
Why doesn't he want to be one of us?
Yeah, why can't? Yeah, like what's wrong with me? And then if we go over to the green section, like the people that actually that anti-woke either openly on social media or in videos, the first one he mentions is Arch. Arch was basically canceled because he was like repeatedly saying the N-word in his Discord.
What?
This is like a couple years ago too. It's just like that is the first guy. It's just like, yeah, I think that guy had it right. You know?
Do I even need to hear the rest, or like I'm sure?
Yeah, it's all the same thing. In like
skullduggery down the board.
Yeah, that's kind of Let's see.
Like the whole like woke thing, I just don't get. Like, you know, I had this conversation with someone today. It's like, you know, one of the wonders of the Western world, right, is generically you have the freedom to kind of say and do whatever you want.
Yes.
So like, I just don't understand this like infatuation with like, you know, it's just not okay what other people do in their spare time with their own money that they pay taxes on, and like with consenting adults, it's always like you the virtue signaling, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't say this. But then at the same time, be like, but I need my rights protected. I should be able to use whatever slur I want, and it's like.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing: you can rationally think about that because you have more than 2 brain cells.
Yeah, I know but you know what I'm saying, though, that mental gymnastics is just like insane.
Yeah, exactly. Where there was someone, and I'll tell you after. I'm not going to tell you who it is because I think it would put me on blast. But so there's a guy that I know that once told me that Christianity was under attack in America. And it's like you ever do a heel turn on your opinion of someone like just so quickly?
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
And I was like, why? I'm like, I thought we were getting along. You know, so it's weird. Like these people think that they're just like Like, they're such a fucking loud minority.
Yeah.
When like 99% of the people just do not.
And
care.
again, going back to my new favorite phrase, jobless activity. Like you should not have that much free time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like, do you think that he just like hops in his way, like hops in his car, not going to work, mind you, probably to McDonald's, but like to just like, and just being like, I can't believe the fucking woke mob's gonna cancel me, and they'd be like, here's your McChicken, sir, and they'd be like, fuck. You mean my McChicken? Like, what? It's like, oh my god, dude, the woke mob's coming for me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things that like just mind boggling to me. It's like, how do you have that much like space in your life and in your mind for hate? Like.
Yeah, because they have nothing better to do. And like that's what I'm saying. Like, if this guy has kids, we know why they don't talk to him.
Yeah.
You know,
but it's like even this, like, this is your hobby. Like, if you love 40K, like, great, go do it.
Yeah, and circling back to what I already said, these people don't play fucking Warhammer.
Yeah, no,
like,
I know.
They do not. You know, because like if people, okay, another thing, just to give you a little bit more background of the whole woke hammer, quote unquote thing.
Woke hammer.
So it's so dumb, dude. So. This was 3 or 4 years ago now.
Okay.
GW made a post basically saying Warhammer is for everybody, and it was this whole thing being like, you will not be missed if you know, like if our values don't align with yours, whatever.
Right.
And it was a very like cut and dry. It was a little pandery, but like it was you got the point across. People were pissed. People were like, oh my god, I can't believe that they're trying to exclude me from being a Republican.
Yeah.
Right? Of course, it's a corporate response. There was complete and total fence sitting.
Right.
It was also widely known why they made that post. Would you like to know why they made the Warhammers for Everyone post?
Please.
Because a Black Templar player, again, I'm one of the good ones, okay? A Black Templar player.
You gotta be careful.
Basically painted like the shoulder pads and stuff in his army with like the SS symbol.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you saw where that one was going?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was at like a major Warhammer tournament. And like the TOs did like basically nothing about it.
Bad luck.
Yeah. So then they, you know, it was damage control on their part. But yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where I'll never understand it because like oftentimes those people who are like really loudly like anti-woke or whatever else, like if you look at like the research and you look at like the studies and everything else, like a lot of those people often end up in at least one of those categories that they themselves like see as subhuman, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
Stone Toss recently. Did you see that?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you know who Stone Toss is?
I don't know.
Oh, you keep talking. I'll pull up one of his comics and you'll know exactly.
It's like those things where it's like people are like, oh, you know, the LGBT people, so blah blah blah, who like secretly like men and like, you know, like for years and years and years, or you know, it's like they're virtual signaling on a regular basis, but it's like, but that's different. They're one of the good ones, you know, like.
Well, exactly. That's all. They so desperately want to be one of the good ones,
right?
It's just like, why do you want to team up with people that like want you dead?
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. No. So Stone Toss is the guy that makes like these comics.
Yes.
So and these are very frequently racist and whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Very anti-trans, transphobic. He's fucking. I think he was like half Hispanic or something. He just came out because he got doxxed recently.
Oh.
You know, I'm like, how could you basically be a fucking white supremacist and like not even be white?
That's my favorite. That's
like,
my favorite when people like you know, from behind a username and an avatar, they're like, oh, you know, white people's a master race and blah blah blah. And when they eventually get doxxed and their picture goes public, they're a fucking specimen, right?
Well, let me pull up the Stone Toss picture for you, pal. Let me show you this real quick. He looks like his name is fucking Hans or something, dude. And I was like,
God.
He looks like his name. Yeah, Stone Toss face. Let me see. The first thing I find when I Google Stone Toss face is just a picture of a Nazi.
Oh God.
Yeah, this is what he looks like.
Oh, you know, I did see that picture. I did put two and two together.
Yeah, so that's him.
Yeah, he
looks like he would make.
Yeah, like he looks like he did a couple internships at Fox News.
Yes, yeah. His dad probably works at BlackRock, if we're being honest, right? Yeah. So.
Oh my God. Yeah. So. You know,
that's and also just to let you know that female the shorthand for female custodians now is just FEMSTODES.
Oh my God, that's so bad.
It's really bad.
You know, all right. Do you have anything else you want to say for
I
40K?
think that about wraps it up. I think my rant's done.
I
think
feel
I'm
like
done.
this. I can like go directly into the Tarkov discussion.
Yeah. Okay. So I've heard murmurs about this. I don't know what's going on. So I'd love for you to spill it on me.
So we kind of, I think the last episode that we recorded was right after Tarkov came out. Like the last big like season wipe, everything, and it was like the engoodening of. Let me start from the beginning.
Sure.
So Tarkov is made by a company that was based out of Russia, and so after the original invasion of Ukraine, like back in the early 2010s, they saw the writing on the wall. They're like, we're not going to be able to have like Western payments and everything else. Like, no one's going to buy our game if we remain in Russia. So this Russian company that's like staffed almost exclusively by Russians moved to London. So like financially, legally, they're in London. They're actually located in St. Petersburg.
Oh, okay. But by the way, just super quick, is this the same company that made Metro? Because I think
No.
I remember a similar situation with
No.
them. Okay.
No.
All right.
No.
Sorry. Carry on.
Metro is the opposite. They're a Ukrainian company.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Not fun for them. Okay.
No. So, during all the invasions and everything, they've always been like, oh, we're a London-based company. We don't know what you're talking about, but like that's not the case. Not even remotely close.
No.
So BSG stands for Battle State Games, and like I said, they're based out of St. Petersburg, but legally everything else, it's a British company.
It's a shell company, isn't it?
Literally, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, whatever. It's a good game. It's a fun game. They have lots of drama all the time because they do very little to like deal with cheaters and anything like that because they just want people to buy the game.
Right.
But they got like a pass. Like it was the engoodening of Tarkov. BSG, everyone was like singing their praises because the last update was really, really, really good. They fixed a lot of complaints that people were upset about. They added a new map. The meta completely changed. They changed the way recoil works. Like Tarkov is kind of like low-key milsim like, but at the same time, like they've done a good job of like straddling it still being fun. And this last update definitely tilted less towards milsim and more towards fun. So this was like December, they added like winter, like snow stuff. Like it was really, really cool. It was like huge,
like
huge,
a snow map and all that kind of stuff.
No,
too,
all the maps got snowy.
Oh, that's cool.
So like we now know that it was because they were slowly rolling out seasons. So like the maps are going to change with the seasons of the year.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's
like
great,
and they had a bunch of other content. Cool. Like
I'm waiting for the big
name. And it was like tons of people bought it. There's a lot of streamers. Like Tarkov is one of those games where it's like if you don't know life it, you will never get to the end game, right? Like the only people that will see the final quest and everything like that are the streamers who are playing 150 plus hours a week, like eat, breathe shit Tarkov. And so a lot of people live vicariously through them because like even if you're really into it, like unless you have a lot of jobless activities, you're never gonna get that.
Okay.
Like the skill ceiling's too high, everything else. But because of that, there's a huge community. Like there's tons of streamers. It's like it's one of those things where people like can kind of get pigeonholed into one game and they do really successfully.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's kind of like the race to the final quest kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. All right.
And like the quests don't really change that much. Like when they add new maps, there's like a couple new quests, and like some of the other ones get changed a little bit. But like generally speaking, they're the same, right?
Oh, okay.
It's like every wipe, because it wipes like usually twice a year, sometimes more frequently. It's just like your entire account gets reset, and it's people racing again to get to the end game gear, and all that stuff.
Oh, okay, cool.
And the skill ceiling is like it just keeps going higher, right? Like they're the top tier players, like it's uncomparable to someone who's like new to the game.
Okay. Yeah.
So at the time, the issue in the other background is Tarkov is extremely expensive. So when you buy it, you're not buying Tarkov, you're buying access to the beta that it's been in since 2016.
The funny thing is, I think I actually bought that way back when.
Really?
Yeah, but it wasn't working on AMD cards, so I couldn't play it. But of course they didn't say that.
So obviously over the years they've been adding more and more expensive editions that offer some perks and everything like that. Where they're like, you're getting the perks now in the beta, but when the actual game comes out, you're just gonna get like a stamp next to your name.
That was like the bigger backpacks and shit like that,
yes.
right? Okay.
So to be clear, Tarkov has always been pay to win. Like if you don't pay for the most expensive edition, it'll be unreasonably difficult in the early game. And Tarkov early game is already brutally challenging on its own, but without the gear they give you, without that backpack space and everything else, it is ass rapingly difficult. So a couple months ago, around the same time that last update came out, they're like, we are doing really well funding wise. We don't think that we need to maintain this Edge of Darkness, the most expensive edition, anymore. So they delisted it. They took it away. So the most expensive edition at the time was like $150, and the promise was you got all the DLC that would come out for Tarkov. It was like owning a season pass, right?
Okay, cool.
And because the understanding is like you're giving up all this money up front for a game that might never come out. Like that's the nature of early access games.
Mm-hmm.
So
wait, so is it still officially in early access?
Yes, yeah, it is. It's allegedly it's supposed to hit 1.0 sometime at the end of 2024, early 2025.
Oh, okay.
So, they got like a really good clapback. Everyone was really proud. Like the community exploded. It was like the most popular Tarkov's ever been on Twitch. Like the hardest that the servers have been hit by like people playing the game. Like it was really, really fun. It completely like changed the game. So then, after they delisted the most expensive edition and it said, oh, our finances are secure, we don't need to have this anymore because we're doing good, they added microtransactions.
Oh.
So initially they were not too bad. It was like, clothing options that you could also like, they added quests in game to get them. But like the quests for some of these are like so unbelievably grindy with like such a high emphasis on RNG that like you would never ever do it with normal, again, jobless activity. Like, and it was not pay to win. Like it was like a tracksuit or something like that. And you were just giving them a couple bucks. Okay.
Yeah.
No big
like
deal.
Just kind of like cheap skins kind of.
Yeah, whatever.
Like,
right?
Okay. All right.
So definitely not pay to win. And the feedback to that was like, ooh, it's kind of crazy since you promised there would never be microtransactions, that you're building a game like specifically to avoid that. But whatever, like if it's just cosmetic, not a big deal.
I don't know.
Got a ton of pushback though. So then afterwards they're like, okay, great. So we're actually going to sell more inventory space.
Oh.
So to be clear, the Edge of Darkness edition, the extra inventory that you start with, you can unlock the normal gameplay. It's so difficult to play the game without that extra space.
Sure.
That like it's not worth it. Well, now you just buy it. Just like swipe your credit card and like buy more slots.
Is there like a limit to it?
There is a limit. Like I think you can only get like 10 more rows off of like whatever you start with.
Sure.
Like that's a huge amount of space.
That sounds like a lot.
Like,
so how much do you start with? Like 2 rows?
No, it's like I think it's the grid is 10 wide, and then depending on what edition you have, it's either you get like 40 columns or 50 columns, and then the best one's 72.
Oh, okay.
So to go from 72 to 82, like it's huge.
It's
that's
big,
like
yeah.
hundreds
Okay.
of spots,
Right.
right? It's a big deal. And people are like, wow, that's really scummy. Like, like that's like a game changing, and you can't get that through the gameplay. You can only get that by paying for
That
it.
is shitty.
And it was really expensive.
Why would you fucking paywall in an inventory system?
We're getting there.
Okay.
We're
All
getting
right.
there. And it was really expensive. So it's like you didn't just get like, oh, here's 10 and this is what you're paying. It was like you paid per line that you wanted to add. And I think it was like $5 a line or something like that.
Holy shit. Okay.
But if you eat, breathe shit Tarkov, that's pennies.
It's a drop in the pan.
Like
yeah.
it is like you cannot comprehend how meaningful and useful extra space is.
Okay.
Right? Okay, tons of pushback. People were really upset about it, but again, they're like, oh, whatever. Like, it's a helpful thing. Like, we've been able to do it for years without that extra space. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, this is for shitty people who like can't manage their stash appropriately. So in the background of all this, Tarkov has a really bad cheating problem, like a really, really bad cheating problem. And the two types of cheaters are people who have like walls and X-ray and everything else.
So the FPS kind of cavalcade of cheats, kind of.
Yes, but like because Tarkov is like an extraction shooter, the like barrier to entry is so much higher.
Okay.
So it's like if someone's cheating in CS and I die, I lose that game, right?
Mm-hmm.
If someone's cheating in Tarkov and like I have a quest item or I'm like I have my kit on and I die and I lose all of that, like that's hours, possibly days of progress that's just gone that you can't like readily replace, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really shitty when you're not playing on an even playing field. But they don't ban the cheaters because the cheaters paid good money for their game, and it's a very different mentality, like East versus West, what cheating looks like. And so there was a huge scandal about a year ago, maybe a little less, where someone exposed how bad the cheating is. Like they paid for cheats, and they basically learned that there's this dance that the cheaters do to indicate to the other cheaters that they're cheating. So it's called the wiggle that killed Tarkov. I might have talked about this previously.
I feel like you did.
Yeah. So it's like you wiggle side to side, and if other people can see you through the wall, they'll wiggle back to like indicate to you like, oh, I'm also a cheater. I won't kill you.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So it's funny because when the video came out, everyone just started wiggling, right? 'Cause it's like
it works, you know.
But there's a huge ban wave. They got rid of a bunch of those accounts, like, you know, crazy because, you know, in this kind of game where if it's not equal and fair, it's like it's just unfun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the cheaters got so brazen because the like anti-cheat is so shit. It's like I quit playing back in January because I literally like died to a kid who no clip through the wall, like flying no clip through the wall and just killed me. And then when I cussed them out, they like swore at me in Chinese. Yeah.
Okay.
So like a couple years ago, they let you pick the server that you would play on. So it's like if you want to play US, whatever, and then they took it away as a way to deal with the cheating because like they could kind of keep the bulk of the cheating to like specific regions.
Okay.
But then the cheaters complained. They're like, well, I paid money for this game, so I should be able to play it the way I want to, and they brought it back.
What? Why?
So the big issue now is that expensive edition with all those like pay to win bonuses is no longer available. Mm-hmm. So if you're a cheater and your account gets banned, it's impossible to buy a new account with all those benefits.
Okay.
So that's all the context, right? Mm-hmm. So here's the shitstorm, like the mega explosive.
Okay.
This past week, BSG came out with an even more expensive edition of Tarkov.
No, wait, more than you said 150 was the previous one, right?
Yeah. This one is $250.
That is insane.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 250 euros. So that's actually close to 280 US.
Jesus.
It has all of the bonuses of the End of Darkness edition that were like billed as unique and unavailable from any other way. And it has like even more like just straight up pay to win components. So it's like you get this item in your stash. So all the stuff that you get in your stash is way better than what you get from the other accounts. You start with these like inventory enhancers in your stash that like are usually like 30 or 40 hours of gameplay before you can even think to afford something like that. And they give you an item that makes it so the scavs don't shoot you. Like literally like...
Wait, so like the NPCs don't shoot at you?
Yep. The NPCs don't shoot at you, and like things that cost money in raid are like 50% off. Like literally like clown shit. Oh my god. And you start with some other bonuses and everything else. And the big thing that pisses everyone off is like, okay, it's pay to win, it's crazy expensive. That's like asinine. And the other thing they brought is single player. So like currently Tarkov is only multiplayer.
Right, yeah.
So if you are like even if you're going to play with friends or you want to play by yourself, you're going to be in a server with other
people. Like the shared server experience, right?
So, right. And there's wipes. So it's like every 6 months, whenever there's a big update, all your progress gets wiped. Everything's gone. You have to start from scratch. All your skills, all your equipment, everything.
Sure.
And that could be like hundreds of hours. That could be thousands of hours that you put in to like get that, which is fine. It's earned early access. It's a component of Tarkov that is expected, right? Mm-hmm. And the gameplay would get stale if you didn't wipe it regularly. But like if you aren't no-lifing it, it's really hard to like actually see into the end game content.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's now a single player / co-op PvE game mode that you only get if you pay for the $200 something.
No. Yeah. What? And let me guess, there's zero way to get this through in-game activity.
Correct. Yeah. No, the only way to get this now is to pay for it.
That's fucking ridiculous.
And so the crazy thing is like they've been adamant from the get-go that they would never do this because it undermines the whole like extraction shooter component of it. Like part of it is it's like a PvP battle royale. Like that's part of the gameplay
for sure,
that you're gonna fight sweaties. Mm-hmm. This is the way that they're dealing with cheating. Like, oh, you can't have cheaters if you're playing single player.
That is ridiculous.
Because it's easier to do that. Oh, and also sell it for $100 than it is to... Because they've left it the opportunity that you can upgrade your version. Mm-hmm. So it's like you already paid $150. You can now pay an extra $100 to unlock all these features. And so, all of this combined, people are shitting bricks. Like,
of course,
like people who exclusively stream Tarkov are uninstalling Tarkov, deleting their account. Like, this is a huge, like, mega giga
that's
shitstorm.
crazy. Yeah,
there is like an EU class action lawsuit because the verbiage on the edition, like the old expensive editions, you get all the DLC, everything that's ever going to come out, you get as part of this package. So they're arguing, well, this isn't DLC, it's a feature, and it's a feature that's unique to this specific edition of the game. It's not DLC. But you know, in the European Union, they have like really strong like legal framework. It's like, no, like DLC is downloadable content. This is content you download, you're fucking these people over. So it's this huge, like, monumental. Yeah. And so you have this like community that's like split on it because like ultimately like the PvE co-op single player is something that people have been asking for years, right?
Sure.
Years and years and years. There are people that would never have played Tarkov that 100% will buy the game specifically for that game mode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because not only is it PvE single player co-op, but it's also the progress doesn't wipe unless you want it to. So you could spend 6 years like just working on this, cranking, getting all the content, everything, whatever. But only if you're willing to shell out money and your friend is willing to shell out. Too. And also, even though it's single player, it is still connecting to the BSG servers.
Oh, so it's always online?
It's always online, but you have to matchmake. So it's like one of the things that they complain about for Tarkov is how long it takes to get into a game. So it's like, even though there's tens of thousands of people that play the game, it's like all across the world, it's very popular. Because of the way that the ping works, and because of the fact it's like peer-to-peer, it can take 15, 20 minutes to find a match. Which then, of course, because they're cheaters, you die immediately.
Yeah, okay.
Well, the single player is the same way. It's still matchmaking, even though it's just for you. So it could take 10, 15, 20 minutes to get into a game that you are playing effectively by yourself.
Wait, hold on. So I'm confused. Why does it matchmake?
Because it's using server space. It's using server time.
Oh.
So that's part of the thing. They're like, well, it has to be more expensive because you're using all these resources and it's just for you and your friends and blah, blah, blah. It's like, then don't offer it. Or I don't know.
Is that why you charged $100 fucking for one game mode?
Fix your shit game and let it run locally, right? Like it's mind-boggling. So, the community's in shambles over this, and they're now trying to like pull back and fix it. So it's like it started with, well, if you bought the old expensive edition, you'll get your own unique bonuses that we're going to announce soon that are not going to be available to this group. And we know that the $100 to go from there to the next one is really expensive. So instead, it's only going to be $50. We're going to cut down how much it costs to upgrade. And, some of the other bonuses that that group, well, you can all unlock that through in-game stuff,
So they're just kind of like band-aiding it?
Yes. And it's just like they keep going, right? So it's like, okay, and also it's like the PvE thing that everyone wants to play, you can get a free trial of it for 6 months. And then if you want to continue playing after that, you have to pay for it. And now they're saying, when the game comes out at 1.0, which it might never, right? We don't.
It sounds about right. Yeah.
If this is looking more and more rug pulley every day, then you can get it then because the server infrastructure will be fixed by then, and we can afford for everyone to play that game mode. So the background to all this, right? The really fun thing is one of the things I talked about the last time we chatted is single player Tarkov. Yeah. So there was a mod that was built that like it already works, and it's free, And because it's modded and it's disconnected from the other servers, there's no matchmaking. You hit play and then you play. Yeah. It's crazy. It's this mind-boggling concept. That's wild, man. And like you can mod it any way you want. You can like enjoy the game like the way that you want to enjoy it.
Nah, man. I feel like I need always online dig dug, bro.
Oh yeah.
I can't have the comprehensive gaming experience without it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it is crazy because now you have these Tarkov shills who are splitting the community. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe that this edition is only $250. Like, look at all these benefits, all these bonuses. Like, you'd be a criminal to not invest in this, right? And so we're running into the situation where like some of these streamers, like these people who no life it, right? Where it's like their job is to play Tarkov. Like they'd be stupid to not update, right? Like the bonuses that are available if you get that next higher tier, like you could save hours of your life.
Right.
Grinding.
Sounds like entire days by the way.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So it's this really hard thing where it's like people are like, well, it's ridiculous that they made this game pay to win, blah, blah, blah. But also, like just like every other edition of Tarkov, you're an idiot if you're not paying to win. Like, you have to pay to compete. And so, you're running this really bad issue where it's like half the community is like, this is ridiculous. I'm never playing Tarkov again. And the other's like, oh my God, I can't wait for the next edition. Like, please, I want the $500 Tarkov that just gives me the cheats. You just pay for them. And so it's like a lot of people, a lot of the Tarkov streamers who oftentimes, like at least for the West, the Tarkov streamers are the only connection for us and Battlestate Games. Like a couple of them will do podcasts with like the CEO, and like that's the only way that the West gets information about Tarkov.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right.
A lot of them are streaming the single player mod of Tarkov, which is technically against the EULA. So now you have these like extremely public, like the face and voice of English speaking Tarkov playing a game that is like exclusively banned by the Tarkov user agreement.
Have they gotten like acts from, I'm assuming there's some kind of like Tarkov
some people have.
program.
Yeah, no, some people have. And like they'll be, because it's like a, not a transparent company, like it's an Eastern European company, like they just ban your account and then they ban your email and like you'll never be able to buy Tarkov again. So it's and because these people are so like public, like some of them, like if they don't have a big enough following to like push back on this stuff, like boom, that's it. Like they're
gone.
They're gone. Their job's gone. Like everything they're known for is gone. So it's crazy because Tarkov ultimately was like, I'd say the first like popular extraction shooter. Yeah. And there's lots of clones of it now, like Marauders and there's like a Sega game that's very similar, like that's extraction shootery. Well, there in China it's very popular to play these kind of games on the mobile phone, and so one dropped literally the same day that this happened, and so they're clapping back on Twitter talking about how you know, if you are done with a certain other extraction shooter, you know, our game is hitting PC today. It's being
okay,
like to the point where Battlestate Games, like it's like Elon, they love tweeting. Like tweeting is their fucking bread and butter.
Yeah, it's the same kind of memes that like your 40-year-old post. Yeah, okay.
They like got into like a character argument with how this cheap Chinese game is copying our gameplay, and you know it's all about stealing and what's the word I'm looking for? Starts with D. I don't know, like copying, like
oh shit. It's the fuck. Oh my god, well, the word's gonna come.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly the word.
So the response that was so poor,
derivative.
Yes.
Sorry.
So it was so bad that, you know how like Twitter has that new thing now where it's like the fact checking by the community. Yeah. BSG got fact checked and was like, no, it is not a derivative game. It is of the same genre. It's a competing game, not there was no copying or stealing. Yeah.
I pray that I never get fact checked on Twitter, dude.
It's just so fucking funny.
Oh, it's hilarious.
And you know, there's another game that's like had a lot of hype recently. Breakpoint Warfare, something like that. Okay. And the company behind it has like really good track record. Like, you know, the game looks really solid. They've been giving out like closed beta and alpha access and like
to all the Tarkov streamers, I'm assuming.
No, right? Literally. Yeah. And it looks incredible. And like that was already happening before all this shitstorm. So now like they've completely fucking shot themselves in the foot and they're like up shit's creek trying to like piece their shit back together. And it's incredible. Oh my God. Like you said, the culture war, I eat it up. These shills going on Reddit like, oh, you should be happy that Papa Nikita only priced it at $250. It's like, oh my God, this is insane.
Yeah.
You know, and they just, if that wasn't bad enough, like they're getting all this feedback, they added more microtransactions. So
wait, like what? Like more cosmetics or is it
more
like
cosmetics? But the new ones you can't get their gameplay. You can only get them if you buy them.
That's fucking ridiculous. Oh my.
And the best part. So the new super expensive edition, one of the things that they're like selling it on is that you get a unique, you know, one of a kind melee weapon. It is a $5 asset from the Unity store that they just imported directly into Tarkov.
Oh my God. Is this okay? So okay, as not a Tarkov player, I'm trying my best here. So for a melee weapon like that, right? Don't you lose that if you die?
You don't.
Oh, so it's a key item. You don't.
Yeah. So parts of your ass are sutured shut, and they can't be accessed even after you've died.
So does that stay true for like any items you put up your butt? Or is it
so there's a secure container.
Okay.
So that's one of the big things. That's one of the huge differences between the cheaper and the more expensive editions. So like the secure container is your only way of getting items in and out of raid, even if you die, right? Like that's why people call it your ass, because it's like you just shove it up there and then it can't be taken.
It can't be taken. Okay.
So you get a larger expanded ass if you have a more expensive edition. And so
that is so scummy.
It is
from the get-go.
Yeah. So and you can unlock the expanded ass through gameplay.
Okay. All right.
It's extremely grindy,
Oh.
and in order to get the expanded ass, you have to do quests. And the only way to do quests like successfully is if you have something to put in your ass.
Yeah, why would you be locking like expanded gameplay things behind? I mean, technically not locking behind a paywall.
Right,
you know,
right,
It might
right.
take you 100 hours to get a larger box.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, that is always secure. There's like a little special slot section for like items that can't be taken. So like the new walkie-talkie thing that makes it so the scavs don't shoot you. That cannot be stolen.
That sucks.
And then the melee slot cannot be stolen.
Okay, like ever?
Ever.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. I mean, so
It does have durability though. So hypothetically, you could use it until it died, and then it would be gone. And there is nothing stopping you from listing on the flea market. So you can. There's like an in-game economy.
Okay.
So you could list it on the flea market, and it'll probably be outrageously expensive because if you're a scrub and you have the poor person edition of Tarkov and you want to get that, the only way to do it would be to buy it from the flea market. Wow. And that's another thing that is like exploding in Tarkov, right? So another like big cheating thing. Mm-hmm. It's called RMT, so it's real money transfer. So it's like there are like severe benefits to certain weapons in the game, right? So like the way that Tarkov works, the way the armor system works, it's like if you have better ammo, like you will just win, right? So it's like if it has a higher penetration value, it does more damage or whatever, like it more expensive is always better. But those ammos are locked behind like super end game quests that are really hard to do. You can't buy them from the flea market. You can't buy them from the traders. So like unless you're a ship bucket, you'll never get access to those ammos.
That's just
so if you're a cheater, you craft them and then you go on eBay and you say, oh, you can buy 200 556 PP for $40, right? And then you keep cheating on the servers until you actually like match make, and then you transfer it. You give it to the person. So you will find these people like these RMTers where it's like if they go to the wrong lobby, right? You'll kill someone and they have like 45 guns shoved up their ass and like, 2 tons of ammo because like they cheat the items in, so like they don't care, right? But it's like it's hilarious because that right there, that's days, that's weeks of gameplay that you go sweat out the deal.
This just seems like flawed from the get-go, though.
It is, and it's
from a game design perspective.
The whole game is like kludged together. Like the origin of Tarkov is like a web-based FPS from like the late 2000s, early 2010s.
Oh, okay.
And so some of the code from that is still in the game. It's like there's some really kludgy shit. The performance is really, really, really bad. Like one of the jokes that's going around the subreddit right now is like a microtransaction where you can buy additional FPS for one of the new maps because it's like it's super unoptimized, and like one of the things they've been talking about for years is like, oh, we're gonna go to the next version. I think they're on Unity, whatever.
Sure, yeah.
Godot, whatever. And it's taken them so long that by the time they update to that version they were talking about, it's already been outdated by like 2 or 3 versions. And so it's funny because people are like, where the fuck's this money going, right? Like they're it's been fun to watch like as a person from the outside, right? Like I would never admit to playing the single player because I want my EULA violated. But if I did, I would say I had a lot of fun with it. I put way more hours into the single player than I did in online.
Oh, so you're saying that they don't like the white man playing single player Tarkov because you're part of the woke mob. That's the
we talked briefly before this conversation about RimWorld.
Yes.
So RimWorld, it's kind of like the Dwarf Fortress of like I don't know how to describe it. Like you can't directly control the pawns. Like you can tell them what you want them to do, but like it's up to them.
Okay.
And everything is simulated down to like an exact molecule. So it's like all of your different pawns, they have social needs, they have physical needs. You can do surgery on them. Like all their organs are simulated.
I'm paying attention to you. I'm just pulling this up on Steam.
It's an extremely complex game that's hidden in a very simple shell. And so the story is you're crash landed on a planet and somehow you need to get off the planet. And there's a bunch of different ways you can do it now because of all the DLC and everything. So it's like you can become a king or queen and someone will come and rescue you. You can like do the tech tree and build a spaceship and leave. But in the background, there's a dungeon master, basically, a game master, that throws shit at you. So it's like as your colony improves, as you get money, as you get new weapons, then you get harder and harder enemies thrown at you. You get droughts and disease and all these other things.
Sure. Okay. All right.
And the game, just like Dwarf Fortress, records every single event. So it's like you could click on a person for like a 400-hour save and like go and be like, oh, on this day they ate peas and corn and they got into a fight with so and so and then their dog died, and it'll be like, and they were sad for 14.6 days because their dog died. It is so interesting because it's one of those things where it's like the story's going to unfold whether you do anything or not.
Sure, yeah.
But you feel invested because it's like, oh, it's, you know, these are my colonists. Like, you know, we were talking about how I like Necromunda and to an extent like Killing Team or Kill Team.
Kill Team, yeah.
Because there's a little bit of a story, right? So it's like if a ganger dies, like they're dead, they're gone, they're not part of the campaign anymore. Like RimWorld's the exact same way. It's like, you know, you have that one person who's they've clutched up so many times. You know, you've replaced all their organs. Like they've come back from worse, and then malaria gets them, and it's over. So it's like, oh, you know, I could save Scum, and maybe the RNG will save me, or it's like maybe I retire this person. Maybe it's okay that they're dead.
It's a hero's journey.
Exactly. It is so fun, and you know, it's crazy because it's so funny, right? Like people talk about it like really cruelly because you can do some really nasty shit. There's slavery in the game. Like you can enslave people. You can harvest organs, right? Like, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a Civ sim basically.
Kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
So like it's iconic because, you know, something that came out early in the game is they didn't really like put much thought into some of the mechanics. Like the mechanics that work for animals also work for people, right?
Sure. Okay.
So it's like, you know, if you kill someone, you could butcher them and eat them. And then, you know, obviously they would drop human leather, which you could use to make a couch. So, you know, you'd end up in these situations where the story writes itself. It's like, you know, I killed so-and-so and I butchered them and I turned their skin into a hat. And then when their husband visited me later during a raid, I forcibly enslaved them and made them wear their loved one that's a hat. It's like, you know, what other game would ever allow you to do that? And, you know, from the outside though, you're like, oh yeah, it's a quaint little colony simulator, and you farm and you craft, and you know, you're trying to save yourselves from the planet. In the meantime, you know, there's alien mechanoids that are coming to steal the kidneys from the freezer that you got from the person that was walking through at the wrong time. You know, it is one of those things where I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's like the same thing they talk about for Minecraft. It's like when the story, like because the player is so invested in the story and like you make it and have complete control over it, something narrative. I don't know. It's like,
like diegetic or something.
Yes. Because you have like complete control over it, but also not. It's like so engaging, you know.
I like that.
Your entire colony can die, and you'll still be like, "Damn, that was so fun! Like, I cannot wait to do that again."
I kind of love that though. That's a good like elevator pitch for it.
I started playing with Dave recently, and in the most recent updates, all that information, it used to be just like hidden in the background. Now it's like right there. So like you could just click on someone and be like, oh, you know, this is how many people they've killed, and this is how many times they've eaten this meal, and you know, you can also make an ideology now. So it's like this is like a religion for your people, and there's tons of different traits. It's so much fun. So obviously, I have dopistry. So they live on being high, and so they get grumpy if they're not high. And so
sounds like someone else.
I basically run like a Rastafarian commune.
Nice. Okay.
And Dave did not want that, right? So he has the House of Microsoft.
That sounds about right.
That is, you know, they're teetotalers. They don't drink or smoke anything. But what happens is like the way that the game works, the way that the story works, is that there are other people of your ideology in the world that'll just come and visit, right? So it's like maybe they'll want to stay, like, and there's all these like really complex relationships. So it's like, oh, this person from this tribe is coming through, and if you notice, they're selling a slave that is the daughter of one of your colonists, and blah blah blah. Like, really, really interesting.
Okay, and just real quick. So if you're doing multiplayer for RimWorld, is it like you're on the same planet kind of thing?
So you're on the same planet, so you can choose either you share a colony, so it's like you're both working on it together, or you have separate colonies.
Okay, cool.
So Dave and I have separate colonies that are like adjacent to each other.
Sure, gotcha.
So like I could go visit if I wanted to. He could come visit.
Nice. Okay, I like it.
And he had like one of my colonists like went crazy and escaped, and then joined Dave's, and then was pissed because there was no drugs or alcohol in the colony for them to consume. It is incredible. 100% I recommend. Okay. If you like that kind of like storytelling of, you know, there being this like ongoing something in the background that you're always kind of like following, you have to play it. You have to play it.
All right.
It's very challenging to learn. Very, very challenging.
I think that sounds like it's like right up my alley though, as far as
I think
you'd
like enjoy it. Yeah.
I will say that just on that topic, and also we were talking about it a little bit beforehand.
Yeah.
If you like things kind of like coming back throughout like a story and
Yeah.
stuff, it's not it's not like the scale's absolutely different. But like if you were to finally pull the trigger and start playing Baldur's Gate 3,
I want to. You know.
I know you will eventually. I have faith.
Yeah.
But like there's so many things where you can make a choice 60 hours earlier in your playthrough,
yeah.
and someone's gonna. It's like you know the Telltale games where it's like, oh, so and so will remember that.
Yeah.
It's like that, but it actually matters.
Yeah.
You know, so like there's so many people that like, and every single person that I've talked to has a completely different playthrough of the game, right?
Yeah.
Like there's been so many companions where like I've been talking to like other friends of ours, and I'd be like, yeah, you know, like so and so actually didn't even make it out of the first conflict, and they're like, they were with me when I fought the Elder Brain at the end of the game, and it's like it's really crazy. You know, it's very cool. I think it's very just it's beautiful. Like it's hard for me to put into words how much I love that game.
My favorite part about RimWorld is it's like sometimes you'll like lose track of things because it's like you're just trying to like survive, right? So it's like you're micromanaging farming or something else, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, so and so has died, and you're like, wait, what? Like what happened?
That happened?
You know, I had a character who was like my only person who was good at something, right? Because that's one of the things is like they all have their own skill sets. So like say you don't have someone with a very high like farming skill, like you literally can't plant, you can't grow food. Okay. So like some of those are really like hard because some of the skills are like really hard to come by. So it's like if you don't have someone who's good at research, you just don't get to research anything for the whole game. No new technology. Okay. I had this person, she was good at like something and was like really valuable, and obviously she was a weed smoking fornicator. I had her ripped and doped up all the time. Well, apparently she had lung disease, and you know, back to back, you know, years of ripping the Autobahn finally caught up to her. The Autobahn. And so you're like, oh, do I go back to a save from an hour ago and like I try to save her, or it's like, well, you know, it was probably her time, right? Like, you know, she went out the way she wanted to. Or you're like, you know, you can let people go, right? So it's like you capture someone, you keep them prisoner, and you decide, I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm gonna like let you go.
Sure.
They will come back later when you're being attacked and be like, oh, I remember that. I'm gonna come back and help protect you. Even better is, you can earn a little bit of karma with some of these like enemy groups by like releasing a prisoner. It doesn't say they have to be all in one. So it's like, you give them peg legs and peg arms, and you take both their eyes and one of their kidneys.
Yeah, they wake up, there's a horse's head next to them, just.
And then you open up the door and you're like, all right, get out. I ain't feeding you anymore. God. So, later on when they come back to raid you again, there's this like deaf, blind.
Like a fucking paraplegic. Just, oh my God. Yeah, I have the Steam page open right now. I think I might need to invest, dude. This is like.
And what's crazy, it's one of those games where like from the get go they like made it very easy to mod, and they encourage people to mod it. So the workshop is insane. Like there are complete like rewrites. So it's like if you don't like the premise of this and you want to play RimWorld but it's Fallout, there's Fallout RimWorld. You want to play Star Wars, there's Star Wars RimWorld. Like okay,
Well, yeah, and I'm seeing right here that there's like a ton of different. Like DLCs for it.
Yeah, and the DLCs adds like huge like content changes. So it's like the ideologies was one of them. Another one was like Gods and Kings or something like that.
Yeah, I'm seeing like, a horror pack that is tickling my interest.
There's one that just came out and it's all Lovecraftian horrors. So it completely changes the game. So it's like there's now this like mystical crap. So it's like you can find an artifact in like the mines or caves, and then suddenly you have the oh my God, what's the thing in Space Odyssey? The obelisk.
Yeah.
And so like all your people now have this like whimsical desire to pay homage to the obelisk. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's dope, man.
Yeah,
big fan. We did not talk about this actually beforehand. Did you have a pick of the week? It's been a minute since we've done it. If you need a minute, I think I have one.
Yeah, go ahead. Let it rip.
Okay. So mine. Funny enough, is actually a album that Amanda recommended to me. It is Chappell Rowan's debut album. It's a very kind of like indie pop, but it's also like super campy. So
again, the name sounds familiar.
If I played you the chorus, it's been the bridge of one of her new songs. It's been like all over TikTok.
TikTok?
Last couple weeks. Yeah, big TikTok song. You'll recognize it. And I never thought that I would be the kind of guy that would have a penchant for listening to lesbian power ballads. but here we are. Like every single song is a banger.
Banger.
Right? Yeah, and like they're also like, because I've even like gotten into the point where like I was like watching like interviews of Chaparral, and she was like talking about like how like, you know, how much she enjoys like the camp of being part of like the queer community, and it's like it's just really cool to like listen. So I'll tell us a funny story here. She has a song called "Hot to Go."
Okay.
Right. And there's kind of like a YMCA-esque song, like dance to go with it, rather. So it's like you do the HOTTTOG, you know. It's fun, you know, obviously. And so Amanda's telling me about it, and she's like, "Babe, isn't this great? This is the queer YMCA." And I'm just like, I'm like, I have news for you about the Village People.
I was gonna say that is offensive. You know, I was actually thinking about that earlier this week. So
the Village People.
No, but like the 80s music in general.
Oh,
right?
yes. Yeah.
How many Wham songs have you listened to where there's this like tremendously gay man just crooning about women? Like, oh my God.
Well, that's the thing, you know, you take a lot of like these like, I don't want to assume closeted, right? But like, you know, you take a lot of songs like that back then and you just switch the she from a he.
I know.
You know, and you're like, wow, you know, it's like that makes so much more sense.
It's
now.
so funny because it's like looking back on it, right? Like, how could you like just, you know, you're ripping open the newspaper, you're having some black coffee in 1984, and you're like, oh, Elton John, he's such a strong, you know, member of the white race, so Christian and pure, and definitely not homosexual.
No. Actually, there's another podcast bit actually that I watched recently. Elton John has a very disappointing name.
Name?
Like a real name.
Oh,
like his real name.
Yeah,
dude, I'm telling it's something funky.
But it's like him and Freddie Mercury and like. All
right, dude. Do you want to hit you with Elton John's real name?
Lay it on me.
This is very disappointing.
I'm ready.
Reginald Kenneth Dwight.
Oh, that's why his teeth look like that. That is so funny. Yeah. But no, it was just
I love
like,
Elton John though.
It was like I was listening to I don't know, it's some like radio on Spotify where it's just like the super synthy 80s music. Like it hits. Every single song hits.
Yep.
And I was listening to George Michael, right? I think that's his name.
Yeah. From when? Yeah.
And I was like, this is just hilarious. Like I can't I cannot. I think my pick of the week is I've been listening to rally house music, house rally music.
Okay,
rally house music. So
so I know house music, obviously.
So have you seen that edit on TikTok where it's I think her name's Cara Delevingne. She was one of the radio hosts.
Oh
on
yeah, house music will love you back. Yeah.
People have been chopping that up into like actual house music.
Oh,
and so there's been this like big rebirth of like European rally car racing from the 90s, and the house music that they're producing like goes perfectly with these edits from like the 90s, like 80s 90s, like the Group B rally racing where there's like no fucking rules, and it's incredible. Like the vibes are immaculate. And so rally racing or rally house is this kind of like combination of like house music and like British like underground like rap music like that like
well, because I know in the clip that you're talking about they sample a Kendrick song.
Yeah.
So is it kind of like similar vibes to that?
Kind of like that one's interesting because it's like an American rapper, but almost all the other ones there's either no rap or it's like I don't know, it's like Jamaican English person like the you know how like the British accent, like with people who are like darker skin, like it has that like really like robust. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, I think.
But like that like really unique, like bumbleclot, like like vaguely Jamaican, like but also like very distinctly like British.
Yes.
Like the whole underground rap scene there has like some really like interesting, like it has this very interesting vibe to it.
That's cool.
That again blends perfectly with like the Eurobeat house. Like it sounds very odd, but like the music hits.
No, I'm into it though.
Very high energy, like not as moody and sad as some of the other like house.
We like to be upbeat in this house.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that's been my.
That's all I got, man. Thanks for coming over.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
So here's the question: will we be podcasting again before 2025?
Before 2025, yes.
Ooh, that's bold. That's bold.
We got 8 months.
That's true. It's only April.
Yeah. If we really want to push ourselves, I'd say by June.
Okay. Wow. Bold.
That's a big if. Okay. I'm just.
What other content do we have coming down the pipeline?
I think we got some Talia originals there.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got those. We got the Saga video.
Very exciting.
That I'm really hoping I can.
I got the
that.
Patreon sneak peek, and I don't think YouTube's ready.
Oh, thank you. I have we went over it before, but I have a litany of unfinished video essays that I started.
Yeah,
like there's probably a dozen that I have like the first 2 pages written for.
I think at some point you're gonna run out of things to paint, and you're gonna be like, well, I guess I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's why you just buy more minis, man.
It's good to shake up the hobby sometimes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, big fan. So, how about you? You got anything else coming up the pipeline?
No, I'm gonna continue rot maxing.
We're domesticated, man.
Yeah. Did you see my rot maxing icon?
I did. Yeah.
No,
I meant to ask you to bring
Jellycat.
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Good.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, tremendous.
Oh shit.
Incredible even.